Good evening, everybody. My name is Dennis Acuna, and this is my multimedia discussion board presentation for week 4, titled Multi-Generational Workforce. Okay, I want to start this presentation with describing which generation I am and who I identify with, or what generation I identify with. Since I was born in August of 1981, right at the cutoff between Generation X and Generation Y. So I consider myself a hybrid of Generation X and Generation Y. As we know, Generation X is 1965 to 1980, and Generation Y, which is also known as millennials, 1981 to 2000. On the left here, some of the characteristics I um, relate to is I have a positive attitude, goal oriented, I can multitask, and like my motivation, you know, part of it is salary and security, and therefore I work for a public agency, so the security's there, and the salary is not too bad. As far as Generation Y, there's some stuff I also relate to. Feel like I'm confident. I am social. I am on social media and social with friends outside of work and in work. I'm tenacious, and my personal life is a priority. I've been told that I am the county's oldest generation millennial. Also, I would be the youngest Generation X. So I feel I'm a combination of these two generations. And it makes sense because my birthday was right at the cutoff. Next, I want to talk about my office. I work for the Riverside County Transportation Department, and there is a good mixture of people, generations in our office. I don't believe there's anybody from the traditionalist generation. The older in our office would be the baby boomers, all the way to Generation Y. And I don't believe we have any Generation Z, which have been born after 2000. So they would probably be 18, 19 years old. I don't believe we have any of those in our office at this time. So I want to focus on baby boomers. Those are the ones that are in their 50s, 60s, and they're getting close to retirement. Based on our lecture, these are team players, loyal, salary motivated. That's why they're kind of sticking around. They're trying to get those last raises for their retirement, so that's they get a raise, they're going to stick around. But also because they worked alongside with Generation X and Y for quite a while now, they also take some of that from the other generations. Is the ones that work with myself, they have positive attitudes, multitasking, similar to Generation X. Uh, the two I can think of right now that I work with every day, their personal life is a priority. So it's almost like a hybrid. Everybody in the office, you work long enough with everybody, you kind of start picking up characteristics of the other. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, there's a range of people in our office, from boomers all the way to Generation Y. When it comes to management strategies, I oversee a full division in our department, and I, look at it. You need a hybrid management approach. One size does not fit all. You have to understand your staff, you understand their priorities, their characteristics, their work characteristics, also their personal life, because it does affect work. When I look at management, these spectrum of generations have different mindsets, different communication styles, different motivating factors. Okay, so that all relates to how we're going to manage our group. What we like to do is a mentoring between age groups. So we have baby boomers that mentor Generation X that mentors Generation Y, and they can kind of share and see how the other people in the office think and how, what motivates them. So then it also helps the managers because now everybody kind of has an understanding. If you keep them separate, if you keep the generations separate, then one generational staff member may not understand the other one. Next is you need to offer flexibility because of the differences. Maybe you open up your office to allow some uh, work from home for the younger generation, Generation X and Y. Um, you just have to keep that flexibility and toss the routines. If you have routines, it's not going to work. So he needs to be very flexible, open-minded. Um, on that note, I want to mention, you know, different theorists that kind of come into play. Uh, Follow Mary Parker Follett, and really famously, she had talked about powering with rather than power over, and that's kind of how you have to with the multi-generationals is give them the power, give them the flexibility, and you'll see a great result come back to you. You're not just having a routine where you're dictating and everybody's managed exactly the same. There has to be this, like I like to mention, like a hybrid management approach. In closing, I wanted to share this picture I found online. I didn't mention much about attire when it comes to the four generations at work. Like I mentioned, I don't really have, can't think of any traditionalists within my division or even in my building at this point. But you can see here is, as in our lecture, the traditionalists are really, very formal, suited all the time, jacket, tie. Baby boomers are a higher end casual, as you can see from here. Generation X is kind of casual, maybe lower end, and then millennials is kind of whatever they feel comfortable in. Um, in my office, there's kind of a shift where we don't have a very strict dress code. Most of the professionals, Generation X and baby boomers, they tend to wear business casual, with no tie. Some of the millennials come in and we feel they're underdressed, so sometimes we have to mention something to them when we go to meetings. But overall, this picture does a very good job of showing the different four generations and kind of how they look in office. With that said, I want to thank everybody for watching my presentation, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend. Bye.